No.
Yeah. He lives on the other side.
He's over there, yes. Look at the food. Hello there. Oh, Lucas. Now it's all the deadline version of the democracy. Pretty clear what this. Not huge list. But they're come down. Such as why can't Alder from Ward 7 subject to special fundraising? You raised $1,000, and then clearly you're ready for the well. If you raise enough money to buy an airplane to fly over your work,
Okay. Yeah.
Rodriguez. Let's see it.
Press report. Yes, that's the second one. Yes.
Don't run.
She's already looking at me.
Good. No, I don't know about this casting to that. This is the file.
What about in that group?
Yeah, this is the file. Look for, should be 165, church surface. Let's just go over it. 165 church surface.
Okay. Yeah, right now.
There's no password for the public Wi-Fi.
No, it's asking me for a password for the Surface.
There isn't one. You should
Okay.
be able to just enter. It shouldn't be one for that.
Oh,
Router. Router. That's
maybe I'll,
very strange. I've never seen that before.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening's
That's weird. I've
legislation
never seen that before.
committee meeting. And I'm going to ask colleague from the 25th Ward, Alder Marquand,
Router.
if he would read the notice for this evening.
Board of Alders notice New Haven.
So if you want to
The
connect it.
legislation committee of the Board of Alders will meet in person on Thursday, November 17, 2022, at 6:00 p.m. in the Board of Alders chamber located at 165 Church Street, second floor, New Haven, Connecticut, to hear and act on the following items. 1. OR 2022-0028. Zoning map amendment of the New Haven Board of Alders, changing the zoning designation of 81, 83, 85, and 87 Woolsey Streets from RM2, middle density residence, to BA1, neighborhood center mixed use business. Item 2, OR 2022-0029. Zoning map amendment of the New Haven Board of Alders, changing the zoning designation of 0.184 acres of land located at 175 Wooster Street, map 207, block 0543, lot 02400, from residential RM2 to general business, DA, zoning district classification. And hold the following workshop. 3. 0488. Workshop of the New Haven Board of Alders with the New Haven Democracy Fund to discuss proposed changes to the Democracy Fund ordinance. Per order, the Honorable Ellen Cooper Chair, attest the Honorable Michael Smart, City Clerk. These items are on file and available in the office of the City Clerk, room 202 at 200 Orange Street, New Haven, Connecticut 06510.
If not, what you can do is
For accessibility related
go to your
accommodations,
email.
please call
Yeah, do yourself that, and you can put it up here. Put your email on this computer.
946-7651
And we'll put the
or
presentation up here.
203
So you email to me.
8582 TTY TDE. Public comment testimony may also be submitted via email to publictestimony@newhavenct.gov before 2 p.m. on the day of the meeting. This meeting may be viewed on the New Haven Board of Alders YouTube.
Thank you. Alder Marquand. Themselves. Alder, you have David Moore.
Alder Adam Marshall, 425.
Alder Richard presenters of the first item to approach.
You can still give them markups. We're gonna put it up on.
Yeah.
Sure. Have a seat. Two microphones, if you would. Stop. Position them in front of you. And you can have a name.
My name is Megan Lyons. I'm a lady county accountant on Santa. I'm with an office at 195 Church Street.
Yes, Dr. Suzanne Dodd, I'm the CEO at Fairhaven Community Healthcare here in Haven, and I personally live at 75 Harlem.
Thank you. So, actually, I'm sitting down at the table again, because I've been in a very long time. I don't think I've been over Marshall outside of this screen in a very long time. So my firm represents Fairhaven Community Health Clinic, the property owners of the petitioners tonight for the map change. As stated, they are property owners 81, 83, 85, or 87 Wolfe Street, approximately 0.4 acres in the Fairhaven neighborhood, and the petition for the property owners. So I want to give a little brief background on the applicant. So the property owners are affiliated with Fairhaven Community Healthcare, as CEO. Fairhaven Community Healthcare was established in 1971. They've been in the city for 50 years, and they provide high quality, comprehensive healthcare to, in particular, the Haven low-income community, particularly those who are medically underserved, undocumented. So, talking to regards to left side of the for this application, they don't tend to qualify. Anyone comes in with medical care as Fairhaven Community Health. They offer a full spectrum of medical care, primary medical care, dental services, behavioral health services, and they have 14 locations in the greater Haven. Their center on Grand Avenue, which is the center that's relevant to this application, that is their largest center, and it is a critical, valuable healthcare resource to the Fairhaven community. So, turning to the actual application before you tonight. So if you turn to page 1 here of the packet, this was included within our filing, but this is the existing zoning map designation for the area. So the red outline is a full healthcare campus development area, which I will describe shortly. But this is the existing zoning map. So the parcels fronting on Grand Avenue related to different are zoned BA1, and then there are 4 parcels related to the campus that are zoned RS2. So if you switch to the next page, this is the proposed zoning map. So it would place the entire health campus in the same zone. That would be the BA1 zone. So this map change is related to the development project, and that is expanding the Fairhaven Community Health Clinic on Grand Avenue. The expansion project has been permitted in 2 phases. The first phase is a new parking lot to serve the existing health clinic on Wolfe Street. So if you turn to the next page, this is the approved site plan for the new parking lot. So this was approved by the City County Commission earlier this month, and this provides a efficient, safe parking area for the health clinic, and then also residents in the Fairhaven community can park there overnight and after hours when the health clinic. So it's a community resource after hours, and then during the day it will serve as a parking area for the health clinic. This is phase 1 of the development. The map change actually relates to phase 2, and that is the last stage of the packet. And this is a full development to construct a second building at the corner of Grand Avenue and James Street. The new building will be approximately 28,000 square feet, and it will have clinic space, community spaces for healthcare support like Weight Watchers, AA, and the like. And then also kind of in the middle of the campus is a little park. And this project has had extensive community outreach and input from the community on the design, and it's still ongoing. For your background, currently pending with the Board of Zoning Appeals are applications for various subsidy relief, and then following, fingers crossed, approval, we will return to the City Planning Commission construction and a special permit for that. So, but we're here tonight for actually a very small but important part of the development. And if you, it's actually best seen if you flip back the page to the parking lot one. So this page here. At the bottom along Woolsey Street, it's exhibited that there's really just a green empty space. That area is designed to easily hold another 10 parking spaces. And that would be that's more on-site parking for patients. So while the clinic is actively works to make sure that their staff are in the neighborhood and off-site, so that the lot is reserved for those patients within the site that need it, that is an additional 10 spaces that can be facilitated if the parcel is designed to be so that's the project. But we're here tonight for the map change to rezone to BA1. And this was detailed in the petition, but the reasons in support of the map change are as follows. Well, as I just detailed, the opportunity for really important more parking. The map change here makes a lot of sense. Because first, the entire healthcare campus, full healthcare campus development will be entirely rezoned. So it all be on BA1. And rezoning the parcel really reflects the natural planning progression for the area. So the area is growing with the healthcare resource, and the zoning map would be amended to match conditions. Second, as I mentioned, to facilitate more parking for patients and neighbors. And this area really needs it. The more parking that they can get off the street, the better, and really a quality of life improvement for their neighbors, particularly on Woolsey Street. This application is the result of extensive neighborhood outreach and neighborhood support. I actually told a lot of our supporters that they could stand down tonight and that they wouldn't have to come because they went to the meeting earlier this week. And we're going to meet them in more public hearings coming up. But I thought the city plan commission staff report did a nice job summarizing the support that this map change got at the public hearings before the city plan commission. But I am going to give a brief summary of the extensive outreach that's been done. And if anyone was really against this map change, they would be here tonight because they're well aware of this hearing. So the outreach began earlier this year when Dr. Lagarde spoke initially to the voters in the vicinity, Sarah Miller, and the chair of the Fairhaven District and the team, Cruz, I believe. And then letters were mailed to immediate property owners, letting them know. And in the summer returns, they then went and delivered them to make sure that they got them. And then in March, they began participating in business community meetings, particularly speaking to the Grand Avenue Special Services District about parking and building projects. Then Dr. Lagarde in April emailed community supporters with an update. In May, Dr. Lagarde presented the project to the Fairhaven Community Management Team. In June, the clinic notified neighbors and community groups of a listening session. They sent 300 flyers of that listening session in addition to social media posts. And then at the end of June, they held a hybrid community listening session in both English and Spanish to introduce the project, discuss it, receive input. In July, Dr. Lagarde presented the project again to the Fairhaven Community Management Team and received a letter of support from the project. Again, in August, another 300 flyers, another social media blast to notify another neighborhood meeting. At the end of August, held another community listening session, again in English and Spanish. In October, more updates to the Fairhaven Community Management Team. October, more letters to neighbors. Then articles began appearing in the New Haven Independent. Project is now very public, and we've also had a series of now notices and signs posted in connection with public hearings for related applications. So extensive neighborhood outreach, extensive input. And I will now briefly conclude. So that was on neighborhood support. And then what was discussed at the City Planning Commission, and I think is reflected in the staff report, was that rezoning a parcel to BA1 is a fairly permanent, it's a permanent action. And so that City Plan staff brought to the City Planning Commission's attention to concerns about long-term impacts should the clinic no longer use those Woolsey Street parcels for parking for the clinic or for clinic use. And we presented and appeared that the commission agreed that that risk was extremely low risk for the following reasons. First, the clinic has been at this site for over 50 years, and now they're heavily investing further in the site with the construction of a new clinic building and all these extensive parking lot upgrades. For a number of years, actually, actually these Woolsey Street buildings that are currently there, have actually been used for clinic uses, or related uses. So 81 Woolsey Street has actually been extended parking for the clinic already. 83, was deemed uninhabitable a number of years ago, and 85 Woolsey Street has an office or administrative office support for the clinic. So it's already become naturally really an extension of the clinic for a number of years now. Parking in this area is extremely valuable, and as I said, it's really improved quality of life in the area when there's more off-street parking available to the community and to patients. The neighborhood supports this, and then there is in connection with grant funding for this project, the clinic had a supportive use restriction on the Woolsey Street parcel that prohibits any use other than clinic forever in perpetuity. And for that to go away, the federal government has to agree with that, and that. So because there's a deed restriction on the land records, even the title is site really can't be any clinic use. And then finally, the zoning regulations actually prevent larger scale use, over 5,000 square feet, if you require special permits, which then would have to go before public hearings. So that the clinic was actually leaving. If the notice of federal interest is actually removed from the land records, any likely new construction on these Woolsey Street lots would have to go to the city plan commission to make sure that there is no adverse impact on the adjacent neighborhood. So for all of these reasons, any adverse impact, so for all of these reasons, rezoning the parcel to BA1 will be clinic for the long term. There's an extremely low risk of any other business who's coming onto the site and using parcels for business use. And so with that, I'll conclude by noting that the snapshot survey is in 2025. First, it really facilitates the further revitalization of Grand Avenue, which is a key goal we made decision for the following years. And by facilitating the construction of additional parking at the health clinic, it helps connect residents, particularly the Fairhaven community, to healthcare. Right?
Mr. Chair, I think it would help for this committee just to hear a few words from you about our program style of expansion of services will be enhanced or be added to this with the services. And it might be helpful for my colleagues to you to say a word about, attracting the effective quality. Important consequences for that.
Absolutely, thank you. So, just to set the stage, currently in the past calendar year, we served 31,378 unique individuals at least once. Many of those folks came more than once, so that the total number of visits were approached about 125,000 visits. A majority, now we do have other sites, it's not all happening at Grand Avenue, but that is our busiest site. So the majority occurred there. We saw a significant increase in the number of patients we served during COVID, and we just don't have the space. I also want to point out that the buildings we're in were built in the 1850s, not the 1950s, 1850s, and they are a challenge and they are just insufficient. So right now at that site, we have 28 exam rooms, but they are so tiny. A mother with a carriage, an older with a walker is like incredibly, it's just challenging, it's very difficult. So the plans for the new site is that we will be adding an additional roughly another 20-ish, 20 plus rooms. I think 25, I don't remember the exact number, on 2 floors to continue the services. Part of the plan is that the current site will be renovated, that first floor, and we will resize the rooms. So we will have fewer rooms, but a little more adequate size. We already provide what I call cradle to grave services, primary care services. We deliver babies. We have a board certified geriatrician, so and everything else in between. We provide dental services, legal health services, substance use services, and all of that will be continued and enhanced. One of the things about our proposal that I am particularly excited about is that we have envisioned it so that there is what I call a community hub. So we have three actual gathering rooms of different sizes scattered at two on the top level, one on the first level, plus a large basement space. And the plan programmatically for those spaces is that these will be community spaces that we will utilize for programs such as job trainings, English as a second language, perhaps some after-school programs, but that we also see as being made available to the community for gathering spaces. So in addition to enhancing the quality, our ability to enhance the quality of the services we're providing by providing more appropriate 21st century state-of-the-art healthcare, we will also be providing community space for a number of services, and like some innovative ones, like we are envisioning something called a food pharmacy, which you may not have ever heard of. And basically what happens is that you have a medical condition and there are certain foods that are better for you than others. You can actually write a prescription for the food, and the food is available on site, along with the nutritionist there to help ensure that not only are you being given these particular food products, but you know how to handle them and how to prepare them in a way that is appealing. I'll stop there. I mean, there's no limit to the there's a lot of planning, thoughtful planning going in. This really, from day one, was always around programmatic. You know, what are the services that we can bring to the community? And once that was determined, then the form followed the function, right? We're building to provide those services. Telehealth and to the issue of parking, you know, has come with a vengeance with COVID. It's actually ebbing to some degree. Some patients, particularly in the medical sector, achieving, they want to come and see their doctor face to face, like we're sitting here across the table, but it still comprises about between 25 and 30% of our visits. And that really is also going to help with the parking issue. We will certainly continue that to the extent that the state and the federal government continue to support it, and to the extent that patients require, you know, request it. But we've really been able to evolve the delivery of medical care through various types of telemedicine. I'll just mention briefly one other program that evolved during COVID that we will almost certainly expand. That's, excuse me, something called remote patient monitoring. So today we're already have a system in place where we can give our patients who have severe high blood pressure a monitor, Bluetooth enabled. The beauty of the system that we've established is it is not internet dependent. It's not dependent on broadband, which is often a barrier to our patients. We partnered with a small startup, and they have a proprietary hub, and all that has to happen is the hub that we give the patient has to be plugged into a regular outlet in your house. And that'll enable, and then you take a blood pressure, you don't write anything down, you don't think about it, you take the blood pressure, and that connects through cellular directly into our patient's charts. We're doing that with blood pressure today. We've done almost 300 patients in that manner. They don't have to come in, you know, on any kind of regular basis. We can get a blood pressure reading on them literally daily, multiple times a day. And we are, in the near future, we will be doing the same thing with glucometers, with glucose monitoring. We can do the same thing with scales for patients who worry about fluid overload. And we can do the same thing with pulse oximeters for people who worry about their lung oxygenation temperatures as well. Very exciting, lots of things happening, and our plans are, I think, you know, they've been very carefully thought out, and as Megan and Attorney Miles stated, we really wanted the community's input, and we continue to want the community's input because this is really going to be their facility. So I'll leave it at that. But thank you for that opportunity. Oh, the fence, yeah. Oh, yeah, the fence control my life. No. So yeah, we are a federally qualified health sector. Just a little bit of history, right? I think that entity came into being in the 1960s during Lyndon Johnson's administration. For those of you who are political wonks, think about it. And that one President's Administration, Medicare came into being, Medicaid came into being, federally qualified health centers came into being. And what they are is we now nationwide are truly the safety net of this country. So in 2021, all 1,376 health centers in this country collectively serve over 31 million individuals. And there's a ton of data that shows that, we have a lot of appropriately, requirements to provide in terms of quality metrics and how we do things. There's a ton of data that shows that not only are we caring for amongst the more vulnerable populations in our communities, but we're doing it in a very cost-effective yet high-quality fashion. So, we do get funding from them, and in this particular project, we had a capital grant for the parking lot expansion. But the minute that happens, we have to put on it what they call a NOPI, or a notice of federal interest, and that is indeed the case for those lots on Wolfe Street. And we can't do anything with those lots without federal approval, literally in perpetuity.
Thank you.
I do want to, but I won't.
Thank you for that explanation. It's a better insight of what the city does. I like to do that. Well, this is about zoning that, and whether it makes sense to take these 4 parcels. Internal part. And so, stretch on a little bit. So this is more for city plan. What would the parking lot look like? So, well, I see that, but so if you can listening to this, certainly can't see it. And so if you can just give a description, I was wondering how the lights down parking lot. And the management of that parking space for their local. These 4 parcels now. Such a push on every square inch that we can get to convert some form of housing. And we want the city to reduce the parking lots that we have. Talk more about this last
Let me, I'm just jumping in and talking general terms. So, first of all, the facility is not designed, but we intentionally brought up a local landscape architectural firm called PK Design, and we're doing our vision. And with the mandate to create well-drained, well-attractive parking lot. Absolutely, there are lights. In fact, there are lights, and we had conversations with the police. Some residents worried that the lights would shine into their bedrooms, and so there are conversations that we had on every aspect of that. I don't know if you can talk about the storm drains and all of that.
So there is one drink. Okay. No, you can actually kind of see in this. So it sounds like your question was people, technical questions, and then also a broader just use of the parking lot. So for technical aspects, you can see on the rendering here. So this is a rendering. This isn't the technical site plan, but the lot was designed first with the landscape buffer all around, so that there's landscaping, and I believe that there's actually. Can I stand up and point?
Oh, that'd be fun.
Okay. So my recollection is, and all of us who's doing it said it better than me, but in addition to the robust landscaping and all of that, I think that there's actually going to be signage there that educates passerby about how they can do this in their own urban homes in their own areas, and then also how this whole drainage system can work. I think there's actually the trees here actually visible part of the drainage system as well. Educating passerby on how this whole system works. The lighting is slightly slightly different here, but in this zone, you can't have lighting, these are residential, you can't have lighting over the property line that's over 0.1 foot candles. And for reference, I had to learn this recently, 1 foot candle is the light exhibited from the candle that's over there. So when it's 0.1, there's no light there over the property line. And then TPA taught me this, when I filed this, I thought this was public art. I thought it was just a clever way to make the kind of like some sort of art. This is actually special reflective surface. So to comply with maintenance, to prevent urban impact and maintenance, we have to run regulation requirements a certain level of compliance with reflective impact surfaces. And usually what that means is developers just make sure that they want this respond and follow it. But what TPA works with here is that this is actually reflective. All of these colors are special reflective surfaces. So this is both really a public art source and a really clever way to reduce reflective impact in the neighborhood urban areas. So that, and then I will also say that when we filed, this is much higher. And then PTC really gave us a lot of comments on widening the drive aisle, increasing the angle, making the runway to the very safe circulation. And then, as I mentioned, the clinic's not a 24-hour clinic. And so already for a number of years now, after hours, residents have been parking in the existing parking lot overnight. And I think that's why residents have been supportive of it. It now provides a safe, efficient, nicely lit overnight parking resource for the community, which is needed.
And I just want to also make one other point. So if you look at these 3 buildings, this is 350 grand. We own this building quite a few years. This is 346 grand. We had this is owned by Mr. Sacco, and we had a purchase option on this building as well. And this third building is the corner of Grand and Roy. We had actually had temporarily an LDA, the city, to develop that. So we had the option to develop all of these 3 buildings and literally hold at one point 2 of them. It's very intentionally, we're very aware that this project is taking away affordable housing, and we don't like it either. We totally acknowledge the need for affordable housing. Intentionally, we went into a negotiation with the city, and we have sold this building to the city, this building to the city. They already own this building, and the plan is for them to develop 6 units of affordable housing for these 3 buildings. The only reason we sold these 2 buildings is to accomplish that, recognizing that we were in a real estate business. We wanted to contribute to the affordable housing stock in our community, and we recognize that's an issue. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention. It's not an issue that we take lightly.
And 2 more points, just really we did have to go before the BZA for this parking lot to turn this area into parking. And that was the discussion at the public hearing. In New Haven, there's a critical need for affordable housing, but there's also a critical need for affordable health care, particularly easy access to affordable health care. It's very challenging in some areas in New Haven with healthcare deserts. And so by fostering this program here really helps increase access to affordable health care. This is all. And then just a reminder that this map change actually, that's the intent of the map change, is to turn this from an open space with boulders to honestly, you don't have to put a park on, like to actually turn it into safe and effective parking. So that's why we're here for that.
Thank you. I just think that's very important to have all that spoken about.
Absolutely.
And just to help us recognize our colleague from the 22nd board, the honorable. I will take that questions from all of them.
Thank you. Eric. So, sort of following up on the question. I'm a little confused if this rendering is not a proposed.
No, this is approved. This will be the parking lot. Yes.
So
Yeah.
what I'm confused about is you're saying that the area that's green with boulders,
Yeah.
that might be permanent parking or is going to be permanent parking.
The goal is. So under the current RFP zoning designation, we can't have any parking in the front. So under current zoning, this lot is currently been approved for that to be zoned. But if we're able to rezone the parcel to be a lot, we can use that area for the zone.
So my understanding is that after.
Yeah, we would actually do a consent approval for that, but the goal is for timing that we would have a part and parcel of the deal.
And then sort of following up all the photos, I was wondering if there was consideration of putting some of the parking underneath the building that's being proposed to be constructed next door, just because I don't feel the same.
So I can very carefully address that. There were two issues yesterday with that. It's, number one, incredibly costly. Number two, we actually did look at putting elevated parking, there as well as, at the same time, look at the, other property. And the conclusion was that a combination for the added cost, the added space was not feasible.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any members? I mean,
Thank you very much.
State president, yes. Anyone from the public wishing to testify on this item? Anyone from the public wishing to testify on this item? Anyone from the public wishing to testify on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will go to our second item, zoning map amendment of the change of the zoning designation of 207 block 0542 lot 0200 residential R2 general business BA zoning district classifications. It looks like you already set it up. Is that you, sir? Yes. Great. Great. Give us your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Randy Lundy, North Frankfurt Road, Fairfield, Connecticut. Here on behalf of the Snowy Properties, the owner of Street. Haven, when the property was acquired, it's a building that originally held the village liquor store with some parking garages to the rear of that. And if I stand up and point it out, this is a survey. This is a survey of the actual parcel here. In Worcester Street, the retail store in front, with the garages to the rear. It's about tenths of an acre. Right now it's vacant. We had originally met with the folks at City Plan, some options. At that point, it was determined that the property was located in RM2 zone, while the rest of this Worcester Street on that block was all this portion. This is the parcel here. This is the parcel here. Everything else. Water Street is a DA zone. This is the only parcel on that block that's an RM2. the folks at City Plan were a little surprised at that, and I think the city plan report called it an error. I think it's more kind of an anomaly drawing that, but, when we discussed some options, their recommendation was to move forward with a zone change to provide some consistency with that block along with the street. So all the parcels, that's why we're here. At this point, we don't have any plans to submit, we found we need to. Sole purpose at this point is just to get a change from RM2 to the zone, and of course, with the recommendation. Provide consistency with that block. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Concise presentation. Well, say a few words about greater degree of density that is possible in the future than what is possible now. Setbacks behind, just so that we can say a little bit about what's there now, what's building there, and what could possibly be there in the future, even though you don't have any.
Correct. Right now, it's a one-story brick building. On Worcester Street was how that happened. Here, that again is consistently brick, one story, and only garage. The prior owner used it for renting out for storage and car parking. At this point, if we kept it on to any type of retail use would require some variances. We have some difficulty trying to first of all, residential would be. But again, it would be consistent with the rest of the street at that point. Everything is just the block that contiguous with Peppies. So it's consistent with commercial along that street. So we'd like to keep it that way. At this point, because we don't really have a plan, we're certainly going to consider some commercial retail uses there. Housing is an option, not probably considered as a prime option at this point, and it would require going up. Have to look at cost factors in terms of going up. But nothing's off the table at this point, but there's no now. We discussed some options with architects and we're waiting for some proposals to move forward. More than likely it will be commercial. Thank you for that response. Following the page 49 of our packet, and table that gives information about the story, basically. Wanted to demolish and start over, or add on to build that up to 30. Well, that's just part of what we're thinking about. Correct. The height requirements wouldn't be here, they're not until we have small spaces. The height requirements, also the setback are a little different. I think we have 10 foot rear setback. Side Zanelli back here, one of the Zanelli's here.
I was just wondering, I don't see anything about commercial parking requirements in this.
Well, we probably, depending on what they were proposing, probably need some kind of parking variance. So we'd have to come back to you that based on what was proposed. So there are parking spaces there now. And again, depending on the type of use, there might be sufficient parking now, but anything along the street, yes, sir, and definitely street parking required, portions of the street, I think, require zone and size, maybe, parking purpose, for certain hours. Some of the side streets require that. The bulk of Worcester Street, allow general parking, during the day. Overnight parking,
Concerned about parking availability.
parking really is always an issue on Worcester Street.
Public wishing to testify on this item. Public wishing to testify on this item. On this item, seeing none.
Mr. Chair, I move that we close the public hearing portion of this meeting.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Public portion is closed. So thank you. If you are those that are waiting, you're welcome to wait for our final vote. Have a workshop now. Say for our what, how we do our deliberation now. So we'll do our deliberation now.
Mr. Chair, I move item 1.
Second. Moved in second, discussion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to speak in favor of this item. As colleagues know, I serve on the City Plan Commission, and Katie Miles is correct that we've heard a lot about this project in recent months, and we expect to hear more about it in the future. City Plan report speaks for itself. It's true that some of my colleagues have concerns, we all have concerns about permanently changing morning residential areas to parking. It's not something we generally want to do. And so that's why I was asking the question to Dr. Ricard about what would the community gain? Like, what does the zoning change facilitate? Well, facilitates more parking, but it also facilitates better access to services for people who need to drive. And so that's part of what we do as legislators, is when we look at the zoning map, we think about what is gained by a certain change and what could potentially be lost by a certain change. Now, it's admitted that there are houses that are lost. But what the community gains is really worth it. That's the conclusion. If your testimony from residents who live nearby, who talks very supportively of the project and of the role that the community health center plays in creating and across the city. So even though it's not what we would normally want to do, in housing units is taking part, given the unique role that this institution plays in that community, enhancing access, enhancing services, these changes helps me to overcome my reluctance about supporting things and so for that reason, the colleagues to vote in support of getting a favorable recommendation for. Thank you.
Thank you all. Any further discussion? I would echo what my colleague said. I think that unfortunate to be losing the housing, on these lots, but we're very lucky to have a very health center in the middle of the dense urban neighborhood. I think that provides a lot of access by a foot, by a bus, by a flight, all sorts of ways that people can get to the clinic, and that is a huge benefit to the folks who live in the area. Is obviously very necessary and provides access to many.
have to do it.
Hold on.
A very valuable.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any ayes have it. Alderman Shaw.
Provided to.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, the city plan commission. Report, so I mentioned that for my own consideration. In general, parking is not a plan. I think it's a good additional commercial. No, in that area, but I think, like, the comment from my colleague from the seventh floor about sometimes parking is probably not, it just shows. It is a very popular, in particular, commercial district that's into a narrow street next to it, where it's not in a broader, larger commercial corridor. Instead of parking there, it's going to be. I think it's a very vibrant commercial area, and making it possible for future development of sites to have more. The community goes there, and lives there, and so we encourage the college to for interest here. Sure. I agree with my colleague. Before, I think that I saw a note in the materials that this parcel is in some ways a gateway to Worcester Street, and I think just from experience going down the street, I've always thought it was sort of odd that this first parcel on the block has not really been put to good use, and I hope that in addition to more tax revenue and then jobs from a potential business or whatever use is put on this space.
Thank you. Well, this is such a labelful area. It does make sense to extend this parcel to add on to this area. And, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstained? The ayes have it. Okay, so it looks like we are going to go to our workshop. Workshop on of the New Haven Board of Alders with the New Haven Democracy Fund to discuss proposed changes to the Democracy Fund ordinance. Comes forward.
Honorable members of the committee. My name is Supervisor Davis. I live at 142 Jefferson Avenue, New Haven, Connecticut. I'm the chair of the council. Good 702. Fundamental. Set up. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yes.
Printed out the,
Just use your name and address for the record, and then the floor is yours.
I'll
camera, my address is 105,000 Street, and I need to.
So, one thing we can do is, the years have been, different changes have gone on, and the last change, the alley should have been 2009. Working on focusing on it the last 6 months to a year. The issues that come up and issues that come up and kind of understand ordinance that we've been draw something up that would be a little bit different. And so we're here today to hopefully share that with some of us today, and to also solicit the use of feedback. That's possible with something clear and understandable. That the changes that we currently have. In a draft form now, because as I said, last limited information. We went from the beginning.
So I put out the PowerPoint that I was going to send. But primarily, I want to draw your attention to a couple of things. I'll start by saying that current mayor Justin Oliver is one of the programs he's supported since he used the program for the first time in 2013, and he's used it twice more, once in 2019 to win the mayor's share, and then again last year in 2021. For the first time last year, we had a Republican use the program, which was fantastic. Everyone who was a serious contender for mayor, who had community support and was able to fundraise and $5,000 elected to use the democracy fund to help fund their campaign. The purpose of the program is to combat the perception of corruption in the city politics, and to make sure that citizens feel like they have control over their elections, to make sure that we have much transparency in operations, especially in finances that go into running a citywide race, which sometimes can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. To make sure that people are filing the appropriate documents, they're filing on time, they're making sure that the contributions that are made for individuals. The democracy fund does not allow for political action groups to donate. It doesn't allow for businesses to donate, contractors, contract companies to donate. It really prioritizes the value of citizen contributions and in fact multiplies the impact of citizen contributions. So a registered voter who donates to a mayoral candidate, even the democracy fund will match the first $30 of your contribution to the one. We also give a grant to people who choose to use the fund. And the program has been extremely successful in also supporting candidates participating in conversation, participating in business meetings, thinking of ideas, conversation ideas, and if you're going to take public dollars, you have to participate in a public debate, or a public forum, at least once per cycle. So it's been a program that we've seen a lot of success with over the years. For the ordinance revision, what we chose to focus on, or what the board chose to focus on, was closing some of the legislative loopholes that seem to exist that have come up over the years, expanding the language, not necessarily the ordinance, to cover other uses, and to potentially make the language a little bit clearer so that there's no confusion as to how the program operates, so that everyone is on the same page. It's easier to teach the public about the program, it's easier to bring on candidates and senators and teach them how to use the program, and that there's clarity across the board. The questions that we have, however, that are lingering, for the public, for alders, you know, for anyone who wants to provide impact, are things like, should we augment the funding event? Right now, we provide a $20,000 grant to each candidate once per cycle. You can't get the grant if you lost a race to the same office in a primary. And we also match contributions, the first $30 that are donated to one. And there are other programs across the country that do it differently. We're the only hybrid program in the country. And so one of the things that we consistently ask ourselves is hybrid the right choice, is the right choice for the student, and is it something that we want to continue? Now the loophole, if you want to turn to the slide that I have on ordinance revision, I do go into a little bit of detail of what's in the ordinance and what's changed. We did close a loophole that existed to allow for exploratory community fundraising. It was unclear whether or not if you had an exploratory committee, you could roll those funds into a candidate account and therefore get those funds matched, or go back to the same donors and ask for the same money, thereby duplicating those individual contributions. The way that we closed that was basically by saying that if you have an exploratory committee, any money that's left in there has to be returned to contributors. You can't roll over a dollar, not a single dollar. You're going to start from the beginning. Then you can return that money and then go back to the individuals to be like, hey, thank you for contributing to me and the exploratory committee, and here's the money that I collected from you. Would you mind donating it back to me now that I'm candidate? That we feel is totally fair. But we want to limit the risk of what we see as sort of double dipping into a donor base. Because it goes against the sort of the logic of the program, and it also doesn't seem particularly fair and consistent with what the program strives for. We also wanted to change the minimum allowable contribution. Right now it's $10. The state PEP program, the minimum is $5. And we wanted to be able to not only allow for a lower contribution, a lower barrier of entry into this process, but also be able to match the $5, which would make so the low dollar contributions were valued and valued at a higher rate than they are.
And if you just tell us what CEP.
Sure, CEP is the Citizens Election Program. It's a public grant program for the state of Connecticut for folks that are running for state level office, so state reps, state senate, and then also the gubernatorial level offices. And that is a grant only program. They don't do matching funds, but they have stricter limitations on the amount of money that can be raised and a one-time grant that's issued to candidates once they meet a certain qualifier.
You said hybrid a couple times, I think that's fine.
Sure thing. So the hybrid program that we have allows both, it gives both a grant to candidates, and it also matches individual contributions at a rate of 2:1. Most programs that were created around the same time as ours were grant programs. That means they don't take the individual contributor into account, other than did an individual contributed the amount between the threshold. Yes, great, they're qualifying, you have to hit a number of qualifying people, and then you stop fundraising. What this hybrid program allows you to do is continue to fundraise from citizens in the event and continue to increase the impact of that grant support, of those local individuals who choose to participate in the process throughout the entirety of the campaign. So we do have programs that are public campaign finance programs that only do matching funds. New York's program, for example, does an 8-to-1 match. Now, is the Canada a place to do that? Probably not. But they do have other rules that really limit it. You don't reset the fundraising limits every year. So if you announce the day after the last mayor's race, you fundraise for one person a maximum amount for 4 years. And they'll match that money, but that's a 4-year limitation. So it is a little bit different. It's a much bigger city, and so we didn't feel like that was the right path for it. But we do like the idea that each individual contributor and each small dollar contributor should be amplified. Because, politics is really about people and talking to people. Grant programs try to stop the fundraising at a certain point. The theory behind that is that after you start asking for money, you have to talk to people about different things. So you talk to them about the issues. In Haven, we felt that to just hand out $100,000 or a couple $100,000 once we hit a qualified threshold didn't really seem like the right move. So we kept it at a much lower grant, but allowed people to keep fundraising so they could feel that support. And it also, in the past 15 years that the program has been in effect, has given candidates a talking point, a thing to talk to voters about. Please know that I'm participating in the democracy fund. That means I believe in a certain set of things. I believe in that. I believe in public life.
Well, because, Alder Thurlow, of course, had to step up along with the asking to keep the field accepting. So this is a workshop. So anytime you want to ask a question, just actually raise your hand and we'll bring that in. Please continue.
The other thing that we added, that we felt was a loophole, was we have a debate requirement. That requirement said that if you took money during a cycle, you should participate in a public forum. But if somebody had taken money during the primary, they were not required to participate in a public forum if they decided to continue on to the general election and not keep the fund. So we felt that that wasn't fair. You should continue the public conversation, even if you lost a primary and keep running, or even if you decide not to use the fund, because it's not, you feel that it's not in your best interest, that you feel it's not competitive, enough of a race. You still want to be part of a public conversation, and all voters, regardless of their, political affiliation, deserve the right to hear from you. So that's one of the things that we also did. In terms of the additional offices and potential expansion of the program, what we've done in this version was change the language to allow for expansion to other citywide offices, but not chosen to expand to citywide offices. We changed it so instead of saying mayor, it now says citywide candidate committee, and one portion of the legislation says the committees covered by the democracy fund are mayor. And what that does is it allows, if the board chooses to, or there's political will for it in the future, or now to expand this program to other races to support those races, we can do that much more easily than having to go back through and change every single time it says matters.
I found it interesting that the definition section starts with citywide office committee. And find that, but nowhere did I see it define the definition for what it is. Your presentation mentioned,
Yeah.
but I didn't see anywhere in those ordinance.
I think that's what we're waiting feedback from.
You want to hear from us, actually, because the ordinance is defined it, however.
Right.
So like a board of education fee is half the city, but the ordinance could consider that citywide, right? Like it's all in under defined.
So if you look at, in the ordinance section 2-822 definitions, item number 1, the way that the red line version now reads, would be citywide office committee means a committee designated by a single candidate or established with the consent, authorization, or cooperation of a single candidate for the purpose of a single primary or election and to aid or promote such candidacy alone for the following citywide offices, parentheses, mayor. What we would do, if you guys wanted to expand that, would be to enumerate the other offices that were now covered in that section.
The probate judge would not be eligible because that's a state office.
If you wanted for
I mean, we're not able to do ordinance effect, but can't do finance set up for state justice. And it's only municipal. Here in the case, but what that probate judge. I don't know.
the limitation is really who they file with to run the office, and they file with the SEC. The city town clerk, registrar of voters, boards of education members, and all those all file with the city town clerk. And so as a result, those go on to the so something else to keep in mind in terms of the funding structure. Every 4 years, we were required, based on the ordinance, to, the current ordinance, not our revision, to do a CPI increase to the grant amounts, the matching fund limitations, the ceiling on total campaign expenditure, and some of the other items that were part of the program. As a result, the grant amount this year is increasing from 20,000 to 23,000 per candidate per cycle, which means that the maximum payout per candidate per cycle, if you include the matching funds limitation, is going to be $148,000. No one's ever hit that mark. The most that anybody has ever been able to get in matching funds is around $75,000 per candidate per cycle, which puts the total that they have gotten in a payout from the fund at around $85,000. So the changes here based on the CPI, the biggest place that's probably going to impact is not really that grant about, but in the increase in the maximum contribution allowed. Previous maximum contribution was $390. Based on the CPI increase, it's going up to $445. That's just and because we only do this every 4 years, it seems like a big. Now the original number back in 2007 was $300. And so one of the things that we could do with this ordinance is reset that number level if you chose it.
So, previous proposal is to get the back end program.
Yeah, the proposal would be to keep the matching program for the mayor, but potentially not use it for the other citywide offices. And what that would do would be to really limit the cost to the fund, but still allow for vehicle. And it certainly wouldn't limit people's ability to continue to fundraise. We simply wouldn't provide a matching program. It's a little more cost effective, and it better reflects the cost of those leases. It simply does not cost or has not cost the past as much to run a clerk race as it does to run a race, even though it's statewide. But it is hard to fundraise for those positions. And so providing a grant does allow for more people to attend.
All the more.
It depends on the day, it depends on the year, it depends on the circumstances, right? Any one of these races can get very contentious. The mayor's race could be nothing. But the Board of Ed could be something really, really big, right? And so I guess I'm just trying to understand, you probably said it, but I'm just trying to understand why would you want to not continue with these other two, these other, additional offices outside of the mayor because of that fact? Because we've all been around long enough to have seen, all of those races go to the high, to the low, low. And so I understand that if you take away these other citywide offices now, that there would be more money for the mayor's election. But what if the hot ticket that particular year is the city town clerk's office? And the mayor's office, no one's running it, so they don't even need it. They can use the old signs and put those up there like they all do, to save money. So I think, you probably already said it, but it's just not registering why you all think that it is better to do that.
So we don't think, speaking for myself personally, I think as many races should be, as you guys want to be covered. Right now, only the mayor's race is covered. We do not have a program that covers any other citywide race or others.
We want to open it up.
Oh, we want to.
We want to open it up.
So this is our,
Only one, two different processes for opening it up. One, the mayor's process is a little bit different than the other office.
and it's sort of, if you think about it this way, it's almost like a pilot program, right? If you only do the grant portion, you're changing the game. You're giving somebody, in this version, a grant of $25,000 to run for office, if they can raise $5,000 from 200 registered voters. Right? Now, I know all of you have run for office, you probably all at some point collected signatures. You know what it's like to talk to 200 people in Canada. You know what it's like to ask 200 people to give you $5. It's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world, but if you have, support from your community, you're going to feel that. You're going to know you can get there. You're going to feel like you can get there, especially if you're running citywide. And so for some people, this is quite the hurdle, and for others, it's not. But if you can clear that mark and show that you have some kind of ground support, then we'll give you the grant to help you get into the company. In the city of New England, you can pay their own. That doesn't mean you're not allowed to collect contributions from outside. You can collect contributions from anyone that's legally allowed under state law.
That's people. It opens up the field versus closing.
Right, I was hearing it the other way, that it sounded like you wanted to close it to these other people, that's why I said, right, said that you couldn't want to hear a person and say, one, you can have one race that's really hot, it doesn't necessarily be there.
Correct.
But then at the same time, I think all city and city
If you raise $5,000, you're not using all the person. Yeah, well, it could be a little, it could be.
One of the things that we did ask to speak to that, is on page 8 of the ordinance revision. It's in section 2-824 candidate contract, part G. The very last section here is new. And what we wanted to try and do, especially for alders, is create something called the democracy fund performance. And what that would do would be allow you to, for non-citywide offices, right, for Alder, or if you're not eligible to receive money from the Donkey Fund, for example, because you don't have competitive rates, or because you're not planning or able to raise the threshold for the grant. We would still allow you to take the democracy fund promise, which reflects your commitment to honor the terms of the candidate contract, not raise money for political activities, not raise money for special interests, issue donations from businesses and contractors, but, still, and abide by the rules, participate in the public forum, but acknowledge that you're not going to be taking public money to do that.
I would recommend maybe it says that the democracy fund board and the administrator will look at maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if there's, something specific that you guys want to add to that now and codify, then we'd be happy to have that.
Think about it. But if that's going to be something that's all. The aspiration is that all.
As it relates to alternate participation, I know we had, now, the environment has changed. But I mean, at the time, if we kind of looked into that, we had concerns for that, and we didn't get anything really back. So the part of it, maybe it's something we might have to
To just add a little more context to that, we did our initial survey in 2015, and our second survey was done in 2018.
So just to speak to that, I think that there is a certain, and when I hear democracy, what matters is that has nothing to do with me. I'm not. So if I see a survey or something like that, that's just information. I didn't really look at it as this is possibly a way for all of us to be included in the democracy. Includes the regulations and all this stuff and not knowing what this is about. But at the same time, there are certain rules that people might not have access to this fund versus they.
When I do their own funding.
I appreciate.
The reality is, we really wanted to do a full board. So the whole board comes together. Because everybody needs to do it. We're hoping to do it like this, you guys have any questions? You guys have any answers? Absolutely has to be done, and the ordinance is clarity that has to be done in the ordinance. We need to do this and find a way to get as much input as we can to make sure we're doing something. Because we got to come back to you for a vote to give it a pass. So that's kind of what we're at. Depends over my channel and all this thing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just looking at the changes in the document today. The draft revision document. And then page 5, this is about giving control to the board for investing in the fund. Prior, he seems to have given that control. Is that because you want to just have it's kind of want to have more hands-on approach to managing funds and getting interest? And I was part of the original ordinance.
It was part of the original ordinance that the money that comes to the fund, is permanently part of the fund. It can't be swept. And part of the original ordinance that it must be in some way invested in an interest-bearing account. Now, unfortunately, for the first 8 years of the fund, it was not invested in an interest-bearing account, which means that not only did we lose the interest we could have earned during those years, but the interest was on top of the interest. So we had to, every time that we want to make a change to how the money is earning interest, it is a longer process than perhaps it is. And things like interest rates, we tend to change quickly, sometimes fast. And we want to be able to access financial vehicles as quickly as possible. The money is safe and protected and steadily and accessible when it's needed, and steadily earning interest. And when I say that for the first 7 or 8 years it wasn't earning interest, it wasn't even in a bank account that earned interest.
Thank you. Okay. My next question is on page 8. Section C, which your edit takes out. That's what I had a hard time reading that. It's strongly crossed out by the program. Did you just say why is it? Page 8?
Sure.
Page 8, the strongly crossed out section.
Yes.
Goes into that.
It turns out the Supreme Court found that section illegal.
Well, which Supreme Court?
I believe it was 2008 or 9.
Connecticut or US?
Federal.
As I continue along,
Sorry, just to add a point of clarification on that, it's not that they found our ordinance was illegal, but they found that this type of mechanism in other public finance programs is a trigger mechanism,
yeah,
not enforceable.
I think that's a clarification. I think we all would all be aware of the Supreme Court case.
Absolutely.
That's not a ordinance.
They removed similar language in the state program.
Page 12, this is about creating a new reporting pathway for folks who think they've seen or perceived a violation. I guess I want to ask you more generally, like what gives rise to the need for this? Do you feel like there have been violations that haven't been reported, or you're not satisfied with the robustness of your ability to find violations? Just say more about the violation and enforcement.
So no one has ever filed a formal complaint in the way that it was allowed to do so. Complaints or the really nice complaints, really questions that have been brought up, typically have been submitted in writing as a letter to the board of, the conversation on the board. This would allow perhaps a simplified form so that people didn't have to justify in an email with legal notation what they thought what violation they thought had occurred. Because there wasn't really a standardized way to submit those questions, to submit those complaints, there's been a concern that people who had such complaints or concerns haven't been able to express them properly and get to resolve satisfactorily. And in the spirit of a board that operates with full transparency, and what we really strive for is to be an example of how to operate, how to operate with diligence. We want to make sure that members of the public have every opportunity to help them evolve.
Obviously, some of there's no allegations that it violated state election law. The problem this is a ordinance that establishes a program as a so some reason really didn't qualify, but it is still not. It can still be applied to state law. This is about when people accept the money, and then it's found that they aren't meeting the requirements.
Yeah, there could be complaints made about that. There could be complaints about how, we went about approving some contribution or not. I can't really speak like what those complaints would actually be. But if someone has a concern, they ought to have a way to bring that to our attention in a completely unfair, method, that is equally acceptable for us. And not have to feel like they have to hire a lawyer to play the police. Just to comment on that as well, if there is an ethics violation, a financial law violation, or something that the FEC would take care of, the State Elections Enforcement Commission would take care of, we don't touch it. We can't touch it. We have no authorization authority to do that. Refer people to the State Elections Enforcement Commission instead, because that's not appropriate.
I see that the existing ordinance is provisions for revenue civil penalty. Have you ever had to do that? So what was that? Taking the money and spending it appropriately.
Possibly, yeah, to make it basically, like a worst case scenario, somebody who took the grant money and a bunch of matching funds and then colluded with a political action group, and that was clearly against, the rules and regulations of the fund. We would want our money back, and we will a penalty for that, because you're not supposed to do that, and you really are not supposed to do that. You sign documents saying that you believe.
We've never had occasion to enact that portion of the ordinance.
Yeah.
So you're keeping it though as a protection for the program, and you're proposing to attack it. A clear of that.
Sometimes we have a rule like that.
So this connects back to my because have you contemplated what would happen if somebody promised and broke that? What happens in that?
I mean, what we would probably do is issue a press release saying that this person made a promise and they violated that promise. Not if they haven't accepted any money, no, but it's probably a little bit.
So when you say someone to make the promise to provide the essential terms of
The effective terms of receipt that is participate in a public forum, issue money from political action groups, and businesses, accepting money, primarily or solely from individuals. To to be very transparent with your public campaign documents, to file on time, to include all the relevant information that's required by law.
That's the full, that's not the full list of terms, that these folks did not. It could be by the other term. The reason I'm asking, I think the word essential terms is over for interpretation, might be better.
Well, the essential terms are outlined in the ordinance, right? The ordinance then to
Such as essential. Our terms.
the third section of the ordinance itself, we have, the focus of the program.
Okay.
And so, to counter possession that given public policy influenced by campaign contributions, ensure the meritorious standards for city officers to bring sufficient campaign funds to public campaign financing, to convey their message to voters, reduce the need for ongoing fundraising and encourage, candidates to citywide office to spend as much time communicating with citizens. And to give citizens, an opportunity for reasonably supporting, for having a reasonable way of supporting the election of a candidate by making even small contributions to the law. So we would probably ask you to abide by the contribution limit, the maximum contribution limit, and we would probably ask you to not.
No, I'm just nitpicking, so,
Yeah.
which is that if you're referring to something, you probably ought to quote the section and the items that you would want someone to comply with. Because like unless you have a section that says essential terms, then you say that section is.
We have to.
Yeah. Because I think, the thing that's my concern about this is that it seems like a great area to ask someone to make a commitment, but you don't have the same accountability. So, you want to be really clear about what the expectation would be for someone in this category. And of course, the consequences if they don't follow through, that is like follow through what they have, right? So I'm just thinking about it.
Sorry, if I could just add one thing. I think we would probably make, as a condition of getting the housing seal approval, filing into the ECRIS system, which we would require for all of our mail. So should that be available?
Which would actually be a benefit, because right now, everything is not part of the pilot program that allows for electronic filing for the document. So it would.
I was wondering about the interest. That's something, how would it develop something like that? On that statement, maybe after, programming to change the system so that there would be a portal for municipal candidates to be able to.
Yeah.
The city would request them to do it.
Usually, well, the way that we got it the first time was I requested that they open up the portal to us and make sure that you can select New Haven and mayor and author. It doesn't matter the point of adding things to drop that in. It's relatively easy. And then that's telling their staff that we're letting this happen now.
If you change the president. I'm also wondering, I'm finding it a little bit difficult to keep track of all the different things that we have to we could maybe get a summary of proposed changes. One big fact sheet, yes. The PowerPoint, I don't think includes all of I also would, I think it was, personally, I think that happens,
the program we go through. Probably be relatively inexpensive, and have fairly low requirements to meet the threshold, but I think it's very possible.
Certainly. So the reason that it is also a little trickier, is that for citywide races, setting a low maximum contribution, setting a grant amount is easier because they're more consistent. For the state, they have different rules for all the measurements, for different minimums and maximums, which the maximum contribution of $400 already exceeds. So it's not much of a, a promise or, supporting $1 contributions, if we're saying we can raise that. But I think the maximum is another 50. So we would have to change that number from 400 probably to 100 or 150. In order to maintain the sentiment of the program.
I mean, I think the maximum contribution is one aspect of the benefit of the program. Than the maximum funding law. So you could have different criteria for participating in the local dollar and program that would be participating in the debate or the same reason not having tax contributions or things like that. And I think also an additional benefit would be supporting more campaign activities. I think that we see it's hard often for folks to raise money for all the campaigns, and then people aren't really getting mailers about they're all very I think that if you have a little more active campaigning, more people know about it. But we do hear in the in the contact about issues that we deal with health and all that. So providing a little bit of resources to have that happen.
Yeah, I would agree with that in general. I would also want to remind all of you that the money is only provided for a contested election. You don't get city money if you're running. You don't get city money if you're running against a vanity candidate. So this is worth their name on a ballot, put up $1,000, and of their own money, and it doesn't show that they have community support. In order to trigger a contested election, someone else has to have raised $5,000. That's, raised or spent, they can spend their own money. But it's not necessarily the same as CEP, where you can get a little bit of a grant for a contested race to do exactly what you're saying, to send out information, so that voters understand who you are and why you're there representing.
That's a good point. I would say, I think that, experiences we've had maybe in Haven for the state legislative races would suggest that the existence of the program, the fact that if you don't have to raise that much money to be able to mount someone to raise something, might lead to more people throwing out because the threshold and then really participating. I think we've seen more kind of running for the offices because to kind of qualify.
Typically, in the past, the reason that alders on their survey indicated that they didn't want this program. So if you have, for example, 30 alders, and let's say half of those issues are competitive, because now we have access to this program, that's still 30 grants that you have to give out. And if the grant is $5,000, that's us coming to you for that money. And we would also want to know that we could fund the program. For next year, we are gonna make another request for funding. We're gonna probably request $150,000 to replenish the fund to make sure that we can support an active mobile officer. But, expanding the program to Alder is not an insignificant.
Yeah, so, and just to respond to all their statements, I mean, we can, if there are specific questions about how much certain scenarios will cost. Office in terms of, there are all these different dials. Specific questions for what if we get national, for what that cost. The other thing I just want to mention, in terms of this trigger of what constitutes a contempt race. Some changes that we're proposing. That definition, that might be one of the requirements for ballot access, and that is something that
So part of it is on page 11, which is the use of public matching funds, which talks about if a campaign becomes not contested anymore because the one candidate dropped out and doesn't make ballot access, then that candidate has to return the funds to their democracy fund. All money that it has not spent, then we have in our ordinance that we consider the first dollars out of your campaign coffers to be the democracy fund dollars. So if it costs you $25,000 to raise the $20,000 grant, then your grant is full. And you go based on what your expenditures are. That's always been part of the ordinance, that's not something we're changing. But we are making it very clear that if you are not able to obtain ballot access, or if you drop out before the election, then the money will be returned. The other, we don't make any changes in this particular ordinance to what constitutes a contested race. We're still making it $5,000 spent, spent for. Sometimes our contested race can suddenly overnight become an uncontested race, at which point, for the person who is now no longer contested, we would also freeze their access to matching funds.
I'm a little tired. I didn't see anything in the ordinance that pivots candidates from receiving endorsements. It's just nobody's going to plug it into it. It's not nobody's going to fund. You could imagine candidates getting like endorsements from ladies that they don't accept any money. So there's nothing saying I can't get it more like 40. It's only about who I can see. And it has nothing to do with, people who volunteer for me, not for it, but that's up to me to get those people to volunteer. I'm just wondering if it makes sense to have
program available for people who make democracy on the process. And make the eligible people. Provide incentives for more candidates to adhere to certain. Any thoughts about that?
Would you make the funding such a program?
He said it would cost. Okay. I think it would make sense to do it. You mentioned, increase office, right? $500,000. $1,000 will buy you a pretty,
That'll buy you a million.
it'll buy you a mailer or a flat door hangers that are not super fancy. Cost of door hangers is not a whole lot. Yeah, but you know, like for a lot of local races like all this, it's really about volunteers, it's about candidates working really hard to talk to a lot of people, and it's about having some paper. Maybe some water, to these people. You don't really need to hire staff, not all about, I mean, who would buy paid media, running for the alder of this, that, war, right? It's really the interactions on the board. Granted, $500,000, $500,000, not 5%. Would be meaningful for a candidate, even if they don't have an opponent, but it's like a good start to get your first list ready and help them get out there and get that job. But it would be a way to give further incentives for folks to make that approach. Right, components of it, not just that, so you just say, debate. No, if you don't have an opponent, you couldn't have a debate, but you could have a public forum.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
allow
we'll
public-
have a town hall meeting, town hall meeting.
So a couple of comments. So the way that we presented this draft process, we tried to present it with only the real necessity changes. The changes that really need to happen before the next election cycle. You know, cutting out loopholes, making language clear, making processes clear, you know, and potentially adding the democracy fund promise as a concept. Right, but we have not in this revised document actually expanded the program by a few budgets. Because what we need right now is a document that we have the board of alders to make sure the really important things are taken care of.
And you're gonna be the first step.
Right, and if you guys want more, we're happy to run.
The explanation, that's all it is. But when you, do the ad, we go with the ad. We add more of the races. So we would add. And none of the higher, and see how the race goes. And then maybe we could do the same.
One last thing to sort of keep in mind, if we did want to start a program for alders, it might actually behoove us to use the other side of this hybrid program to give you guys a match on those $1 million contributions. To make sure that even, you know, the people who have never contributed to a political campaign in their life feel like giving you $5 is now the same as giving you a $20. Maybe it's a 3-to-1 match for alders, but there's no grant. You know, and maybe something like that is, you know, really going to empower those voters that feel underserved or feel like their voice is not as strong because they're not coming in with it. And so that's one of the great things about a hybrid program, is it really allows for both of these sides of the happen. It allows alders to collect more money and to access more money while abiding by the tenets of the program, but also empowers those voters to really feel more heard. When you look at the board,
30, he represents the water. And also, I have no complaint with anything else we've done as a state before. But in respect to my colleagues, question, my son, there is section 2, 8.25, and we refer to the general statute law. Where it talks about participating political committees, historical committees, businesses, or, my colleague asked you about contributions and endorsement. My question is, as I look at the definition of contributions, endorsements, those endorsements, there are income or activities being done that actually would be a dollar, but they're not giving us money. How did the democracy fund see that? In all fairness, for example, in the basis for all of these.
So legally, you're required to report income contributions. And so we would see them on your filings. And if you report it electronically, it would be easier for everyone in the state to see how you make regulate. And that says is really fundamental to the program.
So, for example, phone banking, would that be something that would be reported?
It depends on.
Pay the people that were doing the phone thing.
You have to report it, you have to report it if you can pay for the phone, if you pay for the minutes, if you pay for the list. But if somebody volunteers their time for you, that's not considered a contribution in time. And you don't report, no one at the table has ever made a list of all the volunteers that have given time to their campaign and submitted it. And it's still not required.
Then it's say maybe party, those are the kinds of things.
Right, and some, depending on how, stringent your treasurer is, right? Sometimes they will ask for the person who donated the case with water bottles to give them the receipt to show that it was an income. That really depends on, the level of ethical reliability of the people on your team. And also, when you take something like the democracy fund bonus, you're gonna have read what that entails, you're gonna have read hopefully the ordinance. You're gonna have read a contract that says, I'm going to turn away contributions from certain entities. And you're gonna know if you did something wrong, you're gonna feel it. So it's about avoiding that terrible feeling.
Thank you. Having this
Identifying each section, what identifying each section, we have to go over that every section.
Kind of like that because, like you said, you're just trying to clean this up right now. But at the same time, you want to.
Well, we could expand, and find a way to expand it, yeah, that'd be great.
All of that, as you said, because we all know our system, right? Let's get done, the basics is done, right? And then, you know, as always, so every document, any document you resubmitted that has to change every. We have a document for the full board, so we have to do the opportunity to sit and have this discussion.
I think one of the things that I'm really hoping that I just workshop, is, you know, because you guys have obviously a whole other thing, a whole on the board as a current basis. And, you know, in a perfect world, we would launch a pilot program this year for other city limits. Right? But I need, you know, we don't want to put that forward in our recommendation next month if you guys don't feel that there's an appetite for it right now. We don't want to risk this being shut down by something that, you know, is a forward addition in you know, one section. Because it's just right now. And so what we presented to you tonight is really just basic changes and allowing for, you know, a verbal promise, you know, a verbal agreement to these rules without the skin in the game of the city money, to make it pass, to make it work, you know, and then grow those projects over time. If you feel like right now we could expand and have a pilot program and there will be support for that, then we'll push it through and we would love to do it and not. You know, so if any of you have feedback on that, we would love.
I have a question. On page 12 of the list of all amounts against that are that we're proposing should be adjusted for inflation, and then what's could be
So, there are some amounts, in the original ordinance, there were some amounts that were to be adjusted every 4 years for inflation. They included the maximum amount of matching funds, the ceiling, the amount of personal funds that Canada could spend, the grant amounts, the, you know, maximum personal funds, and even the amount of contributions that you can receive, and all these other things. And as it's come about, there are some numbers where if you keep increasing it with inflation every year, you're going to go over the state's maximum. And that isn't what the program is supposed to do. We're not supposed to, you know, say you're allowed to raise $1,100 from any individual contributor when the state maximum is $1,000, just because, you know, 40 years ago, we said we were going to adjust it for inflation every year, but the state doesn't change. Sometimes, not those maximums.
obviously the state requirements.
Right, but the purpose of the program is to create a lower
threshold. So that it's perceived by some at the state level as like a hardship. You can't collect $2,000 from an individual, you're only able to collect $1,000, right? Like, it, you know, and that's the price you pay to get the grant. But what it actually does is it empowers lower dollar contributors to donate more because those dollars matter more. Because in order to get to a certain amount of money, you need more people. And so if, you know, we keep increasing with inflation, you know, our $390 limit now becomes $445. And that feels high.
One thing I would say, I think that there's a balancing act, because I think obviously we want to be an empowered, small, and so on. So we can get more to have a oversight of what's on the thing. I also think we run into a danger where if you set the limit too low, we're going to allow it to change over time and you make it so that things are not going to participate, and then, where the limit says don't matter, somebody would rather, I think $1,000, that gets adjusted up to $1,500 in 5 years, and this ordinance is still stuck at $290, then it's going to be, what else is might look at, I like not fun, but yeah, right. Yeah, it's, this is gonna.
So is there one in particular that either the instructor is not able to be used?
I mean, I think. The minimum 6 is $5.
That's $5. We wouldn't want to because of inflation, say now the minimum contribution is $6.
Then 7 is that's the 390.
Well, currently, because of the CPI, it is $445. It was voted to become $445 this year. Yeah. Now, this document, sort of, we can reset, we can freeze it there, we can bring it to 400 and then start the CPI again in 4 years. There are some things that we can do here.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the number should be. I think that's what you're saying about, obviously, the idea is for you to be, that you would otherwise be able to. So maybe there could be some way of saying that, that it should be, regardless of inflation, it should be at some level lower than the maximum.
So maybe it's not to exceed 70% of the fee,
Right, something like that.
maximum requirement or something on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that right now, but I just think that, we're there's danger of not that you.
That's fair. There are certainly, also people, who would want to run for office, who would think asking their friends for $445 would be insane. And so.
I agree. There's a balance.
Right, so, if you're asking somebody for a week's pay or a half of a week's pay, you might be asking them for too much.
Well, I'm just saying that the reality is that, if the value of the one drops, you will then more candidates are going to.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'll say that. I was gonna say, we're extremely cognizant of making sure that our program, is, user friendly. Is appealing, that it doesn't, require any kind of and that's why we always talk to candidates. There's something that we can do to make this program more accessible, more what have you doing to, that's great training. try to be as responsive as possible to what never want to hear, oh, I would like to have done that, but there's too much paperwork, or, you know, I didn't feel like I could compete. The dollar amounts are too low. That's something that we always have our ears to the ground. House that we're offering, you allow that.
So I think that, you know, there could be other ways to keep it appealing, even. Matching contributions of over time or accelerate the amount of the grant. Awarded to candidates. I think we just need to make sure that.
I think,
So we're really hoping that, first of all, they. That we can have for it. Hold on. Yeah, I could out to you, and then come back. I kind of get it. I kind of get it. I would just say that. Yeah.
I would like to ask, what do you think we can do next, to help this process go more smoothly? Because our plan at this point would be to finalize the version, have it be voted on at our next monthly board meeting, and then present it to the board of Alder's by the end of December. So that we can get it passed with a case of success in this upcoming election. So what can we do to make that timeline happen so that we're not stuck with loopholes in it?
yeah, I was just, I think that the tax piece of the possibility is first, and then also actually, you know, any adjustments to what the code that are responsible to. And then also, I think it would be possible, I don't know, that candidates might start announcing, you know, fundraising for that campaign. Like get earlier and earlier, yes. But maybe that could be some provision that proactively applies to contributions. You know, if someone was to start fundraising in January, but just didn't really get past until maybe February. You know,
Would you think it would be better to vote on these changes and then perhaps propose different for the pilot program, or would it be easier? The changes as given now versus the actualization of this all this does allow, yeah. So it would be a vote on, you know, closing loopholes, and then a vote on pilot program and the non-compete plan.
You're way down there, Walter. You'll let them know, though. You'll let them know. Let's sit down.
It's okay. No, I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page, right? So tonight we did this workshop in our legislation committee, and you kind of got feedback on that. But the bottom line now is that you guys do like all the said, doing your process and then, you know, putting that fact sheet together. Once you vote on your document, then you're gonna communicate that to our board president, who would then give it to the rest of the committee. Because you might decide not to do that, and to the legislature, but you might decide to go somewhere else. But wherever she decided to go, you're gonna get that process, and you're kind of in front of the AEM because you've gotten some feedback here. And so a lot of the questions that we already asked, the things that we brought up, kind of like a reverse that role. And that's one, two, because it's really important to first focus on that document. Not the program, but because I'm adding in the orders and all that, because that's a whole nother, piece of legislation. Again, once, you know, you get that passed, and you kind of come back to, edit, you know, how we always mention children, and then it was previously, you know, adopted. That's another, that you want to make sure that this is done and it's clean. And so, in a sense, don't depend on us. You all gave us your information, you gave your feedback, you're gonna bring that back to the group will come up, you know, do whatever, vote on the document, and then you can take that. I just needed to say that on my own, and make sure that I was on the same page with everything else.
I was pointing at someone. Older fan.
Into, Mr. Chair, I agree with my colleague, talking about the. Those are the calls, fixing problems. Cash flow. those clothing loopholes fixing the problem. Just reading the ordinance language and seeing their version, it doesn't explain what the actual operational.
You want to pull it out.
A programmatic problem was, but we've done some of that with positions, and I think that's doing. I think there's some reason that help point that out. We'll need to-
One page.
Now,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, honorable members of the committee. Thank you. The honorable discussion.